Hi, and welcome to Security Weekly News. I'm Josh Marpet. I'm not Doug White. I know, hard to tell. We're both obnoxious older men, but still, I promise you, I'm not Doug. But today with me, I've got Aaran Leyland as my co-host, and we're going to be talking about all sorts of interesting things from North Korea to Microsoft and why they're probably pretty close to the same thing. But anyway, from the island of Elba, here directly to you is Security Weekly News.
This is a Security Weekly production for security professionals by security professionals. Please visit securityweekly.com/subscribe to subscribe to all the shows on our network.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
It's the show that keeps you up to date on the latest security news twice a week. Your trusted source for accurate security information and expert analysis. It's time for the Security Weekly News.
On Business Security Weekly, each week we address the challenges facing CISOs through our guest interviews, including former and active CISOs. Our news segment is focused on leadership and communications to better help security leaders translate and communicate security risks into business risks. Jason Albuquerque, Ben Carr, Tyler Robinson, and others add their expertise to the conversation. I'm Matt Alderman, and I hope you search for Business Security Weekly in your favorite podcast catcher and subscribe to download our latest content.
All right, let's start talking. So first off, I've got a whole slew of wonderful articles that I was giggling when I was putting them on the show. And I want to talk to you about some interesting ones. For example, it's totally cool if you have North Korea working as your remote IT workers, right? That's not a problem. Is that okay for you? Because I'm totally cool with it. Because there was apparently a $6.8 million conspiracy that where North Koreans were given resume coaching and interview coaching, and there were laptop farms, and they stole identities of people. It just gets better and better as you keep reading the article. I swear I was giggling hysterically reading this one, and how there are over, I think it was 300 North Korean IT workers performing IT work. And it's like, they don't need to do ransomware or malware. They don't need to sneak in. They just got the damn job and get access to the data. It's amazing. And this is why, by the way, when your HR people, you're like, oh, what do they actually do? No, they're actually kind of important because, well, at least we hope they do their job right and they find out who the people are and where they're coming from. I will tell you that for years, I've seen HR problems out there, whether it's verifying that somebody has gotten an actual degree from a university. For example, in some Indian universities, there's literally 1 million people in every class. So for undergraduate, it's kind of hard to tell if that person was the real one, the correct one, they actually got that degree, or if they just happen to have the same name. It's a little crazy. But in this case, you would think that North Koreans getting remote work at IT, in IT at 300 companies, they should have caught that. Man, I don't even know what to say to that. It is mind-boggling how how clever that is. Literally, they when you think about them slipping right past the phishing, slipping right past the anti-malware, slipping right past everything, they really did. And they got access to God knows how much information, God knows how much intellectual property. And by the way, along the way, they're getting paid to do it. So they're bringing U.S. currency back to North Korea. It's boggling, it's staggering, and at the other end of the spectrum, it's really amazingly funny, but it's actually not. So please be careful when you hire people. Hire slow, fire fast. It's a real thing. All right. Okay. And in terms of breaches, this is not about the North Koreans anymore, but there was a fascinating topic. There was a court case, Barry Dunn versus MSP. And Barry Dunn versus MSP is about a breach that happened and who owns the breach. So who owns a breach? What does that mean? The company gets breached. It's their breach. Well, okay, but let's imagine they invoke cyber insurance. Let's imagine they have an MSP, a managed service provider, doing their IT work. Let's imagine they have outside consultants that come in for IR, incident response, and so on and so forth. Who is responsible for the breach happening? Who owns the consequences of the breach? Who owns the actual problems, the raised premiums on cyber insurance, paying for the forensic investigation, and who is in trouble with the SEC or whatever regulatory agency there is? Is it possible that it's the MSP? Okay, I suppose that's possible. Is it the company that had the breach? That's possible too. But who bears responsibility? You know, in automobile accidents, for years, we've had no fault. We've had you're 50% at fault. We've had, if you hit them from behind, you're automatically at fault, that kind of thing. But the concept of at fault was pretty much endemic in automobile accidents and automobile insurance. we're just starting to have that issue now here in cyber world, in cyber insurance and in cybersecurity. So the concept of at fault, I mean, are we going to go the way of divorces where everything's a no fault divorce? Just split up already. We don't want to hear anything anymore. We don't want War of the Roses. We just want everybody to leave us alone. Or is it going to go the automobile way where we have to actually determine who is at fault, issue tickets, issue fines? So to add insult to injury, I don't know, but let me tell you something. It's going to be interesting to see. Now, in this case, the gentleman did this video, Joe Brunsman, is known as Joe Cyber in the Reddit MSP. And he's actually really smart on cyber insurance. So he takes a very strong viewpoint on this from the cyber insurance view. And it's fascinating listening to. I honestly, I realize not many of the people here work for an MSP. Some of them do. You really need to go watch this. Even if you don't work for an MSP, the concept of fault in a breach, in a cyber incident, is honestly terrifying. And I really think everybody should watch this just for the idea that we need to be careful what we say, what we sign, what we do. I know that when I write contracts or read contracts, I often redline them. And I get back, why did you redline this? Everybody just signs it. Because I read them? I know, I'm weird. I got into compliance, so I actually read the words. I don't just sign everything these days. And EULAs, you ever read a EULA? God help you. Okay, so let me tell you something. It is an interesting world out there with contracts. And by the way, everybody's like, oh, my cyber insurance will pay for that. Do you know how many cyber insurance contracts I've read with exclusions big enough to drive a Mack truck through? I mean, what was the Lloyd's contracts, Lloyd's of London? They put out some that were basically, if it's a cyber attack or cyber terrorism, we don't cover you anymore. Well, but how do you classify an attack as cyber warfare, cyber terrorism, that kind of thing? Is it who did it? Is it where it came from? Is it? There's a lot of argument there. And so we're in the world right now where we're going to be setting precedent, legal precedent, which means that's right. You are going to go to court on that. And by the way, I'm pointing at Aaron because I know he's going to court. He's just woof. But just kidding, Aaron. Just kidding. No, he's really going to court anyway. But this is something to be cognizant of. This is something to think about. If you are not sure how the contracts work for your cyber insurance and your company, and especially if you have the CISA title, you might want to go check this stuff out. Just saying. All right. Along that way, we've got some patching to do. I mean, if you're the CISO, you need to watch out for patching too, right? Well, I mean, Pwn to Own, which, if I remember correctly, Dragos Rue runs, right? And he runs those up in Canada. Pwn to Own found 7 0 days, and they haven't been exploited as far as we know. There's no proof of exploitation code or proof of concept code in the wild that we know of. But yeah, there's a problem. There's some 0 days out there that don't have patches. Microsoft has been made aware of, as far as I can tell, and there's 7 0 days that they haven't patched yet. Now, I know that's going to mean that Patch Tuesday next week is going to suck. Like, it's going to suck. Let's be clear. But if Patch Tuesday doesn't suck, Fail Friday is going to be really fun. Because remember, it's always the Friday before a holiday, and it's always at 5 o'clock Eastern, or 5 o'clock Pacific if you're on the West Coast. All right. Are those patches, are those vulns rather, are they really bad? Well, they are privilege escalation vulnerabilities. They are really, so there's some RCE in there, remote code execution. There's 2 use after free bugs. Like it's bad. There's a buffer overflow. There's some very bad things. And by the way, some of them are guest to host escapes. So if you're running virtual machines or containers, some of those will help people get out and get into your hypervisor. Yay, just where I want them, where they can get access to everything. So please ping your Microsoft rep and go, hey, when are you getting these patched? And then like I said, Patch Tuesday is going to suck, but hey, better that than Fail Friday. All right. This is an article I want to talk about. It's not specifically InfoSec in terms of a breach or a 0 day or whatever, but the cyber labor shortage. Everybody heard of the cyber skills gap, right? There's 3.2 million jobs going wanting. And you can get a job right now and make $100,000 a year, 3 days out of a boot camp school where you got in with a pencil and you still had the pencil when you got out because nobody asked you to write anything because you were supposed to have a laptop and you didn't even remember that, but you graduated, damn it, because we graduate everybody. I'm kidding. Some of the boot camps are okay. Most of them suck. You didn't hear me say that. But the problem is that we have graduates coming out of colleges, coming out of boot camps, coming out of everywhere going, where's my job? I thought there was a job for me, right? Isn't there a job for me? And the answer is there isn't. And there's a lot of valuable candidates out there, Hiring managers are looking in the wrong place. And then, by the way, there's an additional study Ben Rothke did. Ben's a sweetheart of a guy, smart guy. He actually did a study on LinkedIn and found that there's only about 15 to 20,000 valid cybersecurity jobs out there that he can find. So if there's 15 to 20,000 valid cybersecurity jobs out there, why is it that we have millions of job gaps, cyber skills gap, or whatever they call it? And the answer is because they're extrapolating. They're going, oh, if you have 50 people, you need 2 cybersecurity people. I don't know the actual ratio. So if we have this many people working in the country, we must need this many cybersecurity people. The answer is no. 50-person companies rarely have a dedicated 2 cybersecurity headcounts. Okay, they're not going to do it. It just doesn't happen for them. So if that's the case, how come they keep saying that there's this skills gap? Well, there's a lot of schools that are making a lot of money by taking your money and then throwing you into the open market and going, have a good day, bye. So it's tough to break into right now. It is possible. I'm not discouraging you. If you want a job in cybersecurity because this is your calling, hey, come on out. We'll help you find one. Okay, I promise I'll help. Best I can anyway. But if you're doing this to get a job because you say it's the fastest way I'm going to make $100,000 and I don't really care about this, well, all right, good luck. But your chances are not that great anymore. It's if you're old like me, yes, I'm old, as we discussed, Aaron and I discussed on the show. He looks no more than 55, and I look no more than 56. But and I'm kidding. He looks very young considering he shaved his beard. He has a baby face. Poor guy. And but the thing is that if you're old, you'll remember that in the 90s we had a glut of lawyers. Everybody wanted to be a lawyer because you could make hundreds of thousands of dollars coming out of law school. Well, the same thing is happening now with cybersecurity schools. And guess what? It's not true. So good luck. Keep going. Don't stop. There's plenty of jobs out there, but you do have to work to get them. Okay? All right. Santander. I know. This is crazy, but there's a bank that got whacked this week. Oh, what a surprise. I'm shocked. Are you shocked? Because I'm shocked. I'm totally shocked. This is totally not normal. What week is it? One of the weeks in the year? Oh, a bank got whacked. So Santander got whacked mostly in Latin America, actually, along with some former employees. A third-party provider. And the reason that it is a geographically limited, it's mostly Latin America, is because a third-party provider, which handled their data in Latin America, was the actual one breached, but they breached the area of the database handling the Santander data. Okay? So they didn't get transactional data, they didn't get credentials, but we don't really know exactly what they got, so I'm not ruling any of that out. If you're a Santander customer, in Latin America, and heck, honestly, if you're a Santander customer anywhere, you might want to change your passwords. You might want to reset stuff. You might want to change your card. It's not going to hurt. It's going to take 10 minutes out of your day. At these days, which bank got whacked this week? Well, this week, it was Santander's turn in the barrel. Ladies and gentlemen, Santander in the barrel. Yay! Okay. But, in Latin America and all over the world, we have underserved organizations. We have underserved organizations that are about limited resources. They're nonprofits, they're non-governmental organizations, they're small mom and pop shops, whatever. CISA said, hey, let's put out guidance on how to protect them. So these are underserved orgs. What do they call it? Limited resource organizations. Okay. And civil society organizations. These are non-governmental organizations that are smaller. They don't have unlimited resources. They don't have unlimited government resources or private or whatever. So they actually gave them a guide. Now, I think the guide has some great points, but it's mostly focused on secure by design. So it's going to focus on building your website, building your app, building your stuff, instead of what am I doing to protect what I have right now? How do I protect my wireless? How do I protect my this, that, the other thing? Some of them are in there, but I think it could be better done in that guide. I think they could expand that guide and do a better job of that. That's my personal belief. And I'm not dissing what they did. I think any guidance for a smaller organization, especially non-governmental ones, because let me tell you, I've dealt with some before. I love them dearly. They're wonderful. They volunteer. They do wonderful stuff, these non-governmental organizations. But dear God, they need some help with security. Twitch. I used to be on the board of Hackers for Charity, and we worked very strongly to help some of them, and it was very difficult. Honestly, every time we'd go into a church or into a charity or into a whatever, and we'd look at their security, it was, hey, we've got a wireless router. It's got a firewall, right? No, dear God, no. So we'd have to fix things. And that worked out okay, but there's no real standard. And if CISA would pull together a standard for all of those aspects, I think that would be a much better choice for them. So just a hint, CISA, and if you're listening, please don't take this as a diss. I think what you're doing is great. You could do more. All right. Speaking of wireless, uh, I love this story. I love this story so much. Who here has an unlimited cellular plan? Okay, we all do. They're just the plan you buy. You buy an unlimited cellular plan, and it's unlimited until you hit this limit. Wait, but I thought you said it was unlimited. It is. You keep getting bandwidth. We just choke it a little bit. What do you mean a little bit? Well, until it's fun choking, not unfun choking. What do you mean by that? Well, we choke it down to the stuff for nostalgia purposes. We choke it down to a 56K modem so you can download your porn in the old times way. Okay? I mean, Aaron sometimes still downloads his porn from a 56K modem so he can see every line come in as it goes in. But, it's still not fun. So unlimited cellular plans are not exactly actually unlimited, let's be honest. And the only ones that are unlimited are certain sort of niche plans. For example, if you have a nonprofit, you can get unlimited bandwidth from Sprint, and it's really unlimited. And that's very cool. If you don't, and if you want to do that, I think the Calyx Institute does that. They're nice people. But if you don't have a nonprofit, your unlimited plan actually limits. And I just got the notification. I just got a new car where finally I have something that hooks up my phone to the car. Yeah, my car was that old. Trust me, I know. And so I've been playing music nonstop while I've been driving. And all of a sudden I got the notification, you've used 16 gigs this month. I'm like, how? I've been home. Oh, the music in the car. And because of the music I've been playing, the half hour I'm in the car every day driving the kids around, all of a sudden I'm hitting the limits of my unlimited plan. That doesn't sound very unlimited, does it? So I'm a little annoyed by that. So I go to the FCC and I say, hey, fine those people. An unlimited plan should be unlimited. And the FCC does fine them. And the New York AG fines them. And in this case, it's New York, the Attorney General fined them a combined $10.2 million from T-Mobile, Verizon, and AT&T. I'm sorry. So they pull their wallets out of their back pockets, pull a couple of $1 million out each and say, that's nice. We're going to keep, this reminds me of the joke where the guy was speeding through Montana way back in the day. And the cop pulls him over and says, hey, mister, I'm going to have to charge you for the ticket right here since you're an out-of-state driver. He goes, oh, darn. Okay, how much is the ticket? $5. He hands the cop a 20 and goes, I'm going to speed through your whole damn state. I mean, that's basically what they just did. They just gave them oh, please don't sell unlimited plans that are limited. They should have fined them something like a GDPR style, 2 or 4% of global annual turnover. That might have made them take notice, everybody. Because if you don't find them enough that it takes notice, if you don't find them something with teeth, they're not going to care. So, kudos to the New York AG for getting that. I'm not in any way, shape, or form denigrating her, but add a 0 or 3. Seriously, that's the only way you're going to get them to take notice. Okay? If you don't do that, your unlimited plans will stay limited. And if you don't do that, your unlimited plans will actually be unlimited up to a limit, which I can't do math very well, but I could swear that's not unlimited. Maybe it's me. This next story, oh, I love this so much. I've been talking to companies about deepfakes now for years. And if you've heard any of my talks, I mentioned things like Adobe Voco, and I mentioned face to face. That's face, numeral 2, face. And they go, well, why are you mentioning these things? And I go, because Adobe Voco did vocal audio deepfakes, and face to face did video deepfake, where it overlays a face on another face. So I could have my facial expressions come out of Putin's face in the video. Okay. So I'm overlaying Putin's face on mine in the video. They go, okay, that's cool. Well, when were those? Like 2021, 2019, 2016. Adobe tried to release a product called Adobe Voco in 2016. And the backlash from their announcement, which by the way, you can still find on YouTube, just Google Adobe Voco, VOCO. They never released the product because everybody was so terrified. But that technology has been around forever and a day. Forever and a day. So this new wave of deepfake-driven cybercrime targeting business. I mean, we all heard about the $25 million one where the guy got onto a Zoom call with his CFO, his boss, his CEO, and they said, we need you to move $25 million right now over there. And okay, my CFO is here. He's going, yeah, do it. My boss is there, do it. The CEO is there, do it. And he did it, and it was none of them. They were all real-time actors, deepfaked, video and audio. Okay, so what does this mean? Well, to be very simple, it means you don't move any money and you don't reset on any authentication unless and until you have the person there in person. The CEO loses their phone on vacation. That's nice, Mr. CEO. You can get a new phone when you get back. Okay. Well, I mean, do I have to wait until I get back? Yup. Or you can walk into one of our satellite offices. We've got one 20 miles away from where you are on vacation. Go drive. I got to drive over there? Yes, you do. We have to remove all human elements out of authentication and authentication resets. Oh, the help desk recognizes Aaron's voice. Doesn't matter. It's not Aaron. Well, I know it's Aaron. I don't care. It's not Aaron. Not unless Aaron gives us the password that he set up or the passcode that he set up in advance for his vacation. Not unless Aaron can positively identify himself and authenticate and authorize himself. Otherwise, it's not Aaron. It's just that simple. I mean, it's rarely Aaron anyway. Aaron actually has an army of clones that work for him in various places. That's how he makes so much money and has such a lovely apartment with that plant behind him and everything. But I mean, deepfakes, by the way, when you have deepfakes that are coupled with a generative AI and a harvesting AI, the deepfakes that are going on now are not just for business, they're also for personal. So, for example, they're figuring out, hey, let's figure out by harvesting all of social media who's going on vacation and who their grandma is, and then calling their grandma and going, hey, I'm in jail, send money, grandma. And by the way, you know I'm old because I did this, not this, right? So, and if you're on audio and can't see what I did, I held my thumb and pinky up as a phone to my head, not holding my whole hand as a cell phone to my head. So what we've got is we've got a lot of deep fakes going on using AI to harvest information and then deep fake to initiate the sort of the scam, the con. And so it's going to get worse and worse and worse. And I'm terrified. They've already had Biden be deep faked on a commercial, weirdly enough, by the Democrats. I'm waiting. I don't think anybody can deep fake Trump because I think he deep fakes himself on a regular basis in terms of nobody can believe what comes out of his mouth anyway. But that's just a personal opinion. Uh, and by the way, I'm not Democratic nor Republican. I hate all politicians equally, just to be clear. Okay. So, and that, by the way, does count as well, Aaron, for the UK. I think you have some crappy ones. Counts for Canada, counts for just about every politician. I can't stand any of them, to be honest with you. Irrespectively, so be careful of deepfake. Remove all human aspects from your authentication resets and your authentication. And let's just wait and see what goes on next. But in terms of what's going on next, I'd like to introduce the gentleman from across the pond who is up really, really late, and it's his last moment on work before he closes the lid of his laptop and goes to the pub. He's already got 7 beers waiting for him at the pub and 5 shots, I think. But here he is, Mr. Aaran Leyland.
You can't say this stuff, Josh, because probably maybe my boss listens, and if he doesn't, somebody else does. And they'll be like, what do you mean he finishes at 5:30 on a Friday? He's corporate, man.
He's got a salary. What's wrong with him?
Gone are the days in the military when you worked maximum till 1,200 hours on a Friday. Okay, let's go. Today's article from the Hacker News. Apple and Google launch cross-platform feature to detect unwanted Bluetooth tracking devices. This is really cool, actually. I don't even think it's a long time coming. I think it's quite timely, and they've been ahead of a normal curve on this. So I think it's pretty cool, to be fair. Cross-platform feature. Apple and Google have launched a new feature to notify users if they're being tracked by unwanted Bluetooth devices. It's normally, to be honest, me being tracked by my own ones and I forgot to register, but that's fun also. So they're calling it the DALT system, the Detecting Unwanted Location Trackers System, DULT. I wonder how much someone got paid to initiate that and come up with it. So the system is available on Android 6.0 Plus and iOS 17.5 devices, so newer by the looks of it. User alerts. Users receive alerts about unidentified Bluetooth trackers moving with them, with options to view the tracker's ID, play a sound, and disable it. All cool. So with privacy and safety in mind, this feature aims to address privacy risks or privacy for you guys and misuse of tracking devices in response to reports of trackers being used for stalking. Stalkers beware. You need to get higher tech. So with this new capability, users will now get an item found moving with you alert on their device. if an unknown Bluetooth tracking device is seen moving with them over time, regardless of the platform the device is paired with. Pretty cool. If the user gets such an alert in their iOS device, it means that someone else's AirTag or Find My Accessory or there's so many of these, didn't even know, or other industry specification compatible Bluetooth tracker is moving with them. It's possible the tracker is attached to an item the user is borrowing, apparently, but if not, the iPhone can view the tracker's identifier, have the tracker play a sound, which we all know you can more or less go on YouTube and cut it and turn them sound things off. But this is one way to sort of get around that it's appearing in your phone as if you had an Android phone and you had an AirTag tracker and someone had cut the speaker out. You're probably not going to find it. Hopefully now you will cut down on that stalking. So there's also going to give you instructions how to disable it. So Bluetooth tag manufacturers, excuse bastardization of all these names, Chippo, Iflui, Geo, Motorola, I know that one, and Pebblebee have committed that future tags will be compatible. Pretty cool. So a bit of hard historical context. The history of electronic tagging devices dates back over half a century, with the first GPS tracking devices emerging in the late 1960s. And if you've caught anything of our Larry doing stuff on GPS, he is first rate at that stuff. Initially developed for military applications, these technologies have since permeated into civilian life, revolutionizing navigation, logistics, and personal convenience. However, the same technologies have also been repurposed for nefarious activities, including stalking and unauthorized surveillance. So present developments, the DOLT system's ability to alert users to the presence of unidentified Bluetooth trackers is a direct response to the privacy risks or privacy posed by the misuse of such devices. By enabling across both Android and iOS platforms, the system represents a unified front. That's what we're always looking for, right? In the tech industry's efforts to combat electronic tagging. Okay, there is potential adversarial tactics here. Despite these advancements, adversaries obviously continually seek methods to circumvent detection controls. You only have to look on YouTube most of the time. Recent research, sometime 2022, I think it was, has demonstrated that unique fingerprints in Bluetooth signals can be exploited to track individuals' movements, bypassing anti-tracking measures like address randomization. So this underscores the need for ongoing vigilance and innovation in security protocols to stay ahead of such tactics. So looking forward, as we move into the future, the challenge will be maintained, the delicate balance between leveraging tracking technologies for legitimate purposes and preventing their misuse. The commitment by Bluetooth manufacturers to comply with the new standards, definitely a positive step. I like it. But the industry must remain proactive, staying ahead of that curve or getting on the curve anyway. Continuous research and development, coupled with robust legal frameworks, will be crucial in ensuring that privacy and security do not become casualties of technology advancement. I will leave you with a quote, either told to me by Josh or Eddie Snowden. Under observation, we act less free, which means we effectively are less free, which is a great quote. Although today it kept me wondering what Ed was doing in Moscow today. I hope he's enjoying all them rights for privacy and government transparency in the land of vodka and no rights. Somehow seems fitting. So on that note, I have a message for the Rusky listeners and Josh. Here we go.
Задница сегодня выглядит великолепно.
Peace out, party people. Back to Josh in the home studio. Go!
Thank you, Aaron. Thank you. Okay. No comment. Anyway, yeah, the trackers are hilarious. I have them. Weirdly enough, the most use I've found for those trackers is my wallet, just because I keep losing the damn thing. But and I actually have one on the remote because the Apple TV remotes have no way. The Roku remotes make a sound. The Apple TV remotes don't. So I bought a silicone case that I can stick an AirTag in, and I can now make the remote make a sound when I lose it. Because I have a 5-year-old and a 1-year-old. They lose the damn remote all the time. But, I love the fact that they named the system DULT. That's hilarious. Anyway, so let's talk about artificial intelligence because God knows we need it because most of us have lost our natural intelligence. And my last article is about artificial general intelligence. And what that means is person. That is a digital person. Let's be clear. An artificial general intelligence, an AGI, or strong AI, some people call it, is a person. And there's an entire scholarly paper which made me just wow on how far are we from having digital people. And it's interesting. I'm not going to tell you what they say. They say we're fairly far, but I'm not going to give you the specifics. But they also highlight what we need to do to get there and what they think people are already doing, what they see research, what they know about, and vaguely, yeah, there are people working on it right now, and there's people that are terrified of it, and there's people that are absolutely enthralled by it. I'm not sure where I am on that. I'm scared of creating a hostile artificial general intelligence. Skynet comes to mind, Terminators, little details. But to have a friend who is artificially intelligent would be, well, pretty cool. So that's the trade-off. I don't know which way it'll go. We'll see. In the meantime, I'd love you to read the paper. It's a scholarly paper, but we need to read more scholarly papers. As hackers and as research scientists, we need to be more scientific. So go read the paper and then write a response. I'd love to hear what you think. I really would. So please get back to us and tell us if you think that they're right or that they're wrong and where they're wrong, because I'd be fascinated by that. It's really actually a great paper. All right, ladies and gentlemen, from the island of Elba, Josh Marpet and Aaran Leyland signing off for Security Weekly News. Remember, you'll see us again on Tuesday, but Aaran will be doing the hard job and I'll be the easy commentator, which he did today. Yeah. And then on Friday, it'll be back to Dr. White, Dr. Doug White, and Aaran again, I believe. And after that, it goes back to our regularly rotating schedule. Thank you and have a nice day.